Do you feel like you're failing every day as a founder? Because that's the special part of being an SF. You feel like you're failing every day compared to everybody around. If there's only 3, I might feel like I'm doing pretty well.
It took me a while to internalize what you're actually saying. It wasn't, I thought you were saying, are you failing in London? What you're basically saying is the core San Francisco value prop is a feeling that no matter how well you're doing, someone else is doing better and you just got to compete more. Is that what you're saying, Jason?
Listen, right now, I'm in SoCal. I feel like a failure the instant I get off a plane in the Bay Area. I'm not joking. Even in me, I feel like a failure every day in the Bay Area. And sitting here on the beach where I am for 1 week, I'm feeling like I'm a success story right here, right now. I'm not kidding. I feel like I haven't been full time in the Bay Area other than this last year, and I felt like a failure every day. The YC company, it hasn't announced yet that I did, right? The one I compared it to, right? The founder's pretty good AI guy. Is like, I'm 26. I feel like a failure. I had one small exit. I'm falling behind everybody, right? Literally work 7.5 days a week. He's at me, and it's just that failure feeling. It's just, I think it's bigger than ever. And I just think it drives founders. And I yell at some of my founders to feel like you're failing. Sometimes I yell at them. I'm like, you should feel that way.
Listen, my mother would argue that I have too high an opinion of myself, but I have a high opinion of myself. I'm a fucking machine, and I am not motivated by an external person. I'm motivated by the internal of me. And the greatest founders that I know are motivated by the internal fire. And being in London, I push myself every day to be better. Yeah, everyone around me is relatively mediocre in terms of London, generally speaking, population-wise. I don't need them to feel for failure. I will push myself, and the best founders push themselves.
I don't think that the London versus San Francisco thing it is a function of that, to be honest. I think anyone who's built a successful company, like the 3 you mentioned, Harry, the truth is the drive that it takes to do that in a country where it's not the norm, in my view, speaks to something even more powerful and entrepreneurial in those entrepreneurs, right? Because over here, it's almost like you go to Stanford, you drop out, you go to Y Combinator. It's almost like it's the preset path. Whereas for someone having been an entrepreneur and frankly failed in London, in the UK, and gone bust, right? It's incredibly hard in Europe to be entrepreneurial, and therefore the people who do it have something really determined and awesome about them. So I do believe that at the human level, those guys, I'm not worried that those guys aren't competitive enough. I don't think that's the issue. I think the real issue is because I generally find people are roughly the same the world over. I think what is true is the systems to become successful are way more powerful in the Bay Area than in Europe. And you'd like those systems in Europe to be better, but just as an objective statement of fact, your ability to bounce back from failure, your ability to get capital a second time, it's all the other things that make it a lot easier in the US to be successful. In fact, to make this very concrete, I always used to say to people talking about Europe, exceptional people rise to the top anywhere in the world. Right? The strength of the United States economic system is we can take mediocre people and make them damn successful. That is the secret superpower of the US free market economy, right? The truth is the mediocre people in Europe can often drift off, government jobs, whatever, safe sinecures. In the United States, the free market system keeps the whip on everybody's back, and as such, a lot more people have to strive and become successful.